Brandon Swanson's 911 call, Minnesota 2008. What if the last thing you ever said was a panicked whisper in the night? One moment, a young man was walking down a rural road in Minnesota. He was on the phone with his father, calm, collected, just trying to find his way home. Then suddenly he said two chilling words, "Oh, shit." The call went silent. He was never seen again. This is the haunting story of Brandon Swanson, a boy who vanished into darkness while his father was listening on the phone. The final day. It was May 13, 2008, and 19-year-old Brandon Swanson had just wrapped up his semester at Minnesota West Community and Technical College in Canby, Minnesota. He was a bright student studying wind turbine technology. Not the kind of guy to disappear without a reason. That night, Brandon celebrated the end of the school year with friends. By all accounts, he wasn't drunk. He was cheerful, friendly, and told people he planned to head home to Marshall, a small town about 30 miles away. Just after midnight, Brandon got into his green Chevy Lumina and began driving. That would be the last confirmed sighting of him alive. His friends later recalled that nothing seemed off. No arguments, no odd behavior. He had plans for the summer, a job lined up, and a future that looked steady and promising. But in the quiet countryside roads of Minnesota, something unexpected was waiting, and it would become one of the most haunting mysteries in the state's history: a call for help. At around 1:15 a.m., Brandon called his parents, Annette and Brian. He sounded calm. He told them he had accidentally driven his car into a ditch and couldn't get it out. He thought he was near the small town of Lynn, just a few minutes from home. He wasn't hurt. The car wasn't damaged. He just needed a ride. His parents got into their truck and started driving to pick him up. They kept Brandon on the phone while they searched for him, flashing their headlights and asking him to do the same. But something strange happened. Brandon couldn't see their lights, and they couldn't see his. He described landmarks, a gravel road, and passing a couple of fences, but nothing matched the area they were searching. He insisted he knew where he was, but the terrain didn't make sense. The more they talked, the clearer it became. Brandon wasn't where he thought he was, and the darkness around him was growing heavier by the minute. Walking into darkness. After 30 minutes of searching and confusion, Brandon told his parents he would leave the car and start walking toward the lights of Lynn. He said he could see the glow of town in the distance and thought it would be easier for them to pick him up from there. He described his surroundings as he walked: fences, gravel, long stretches of nothing. He remained calm, even slightly irritated that they hadn't found him yet. His father stayed on the phone with him. They spoke for 47 minutes. And then, at 1:54 a.m., Brandon suddenly yelled, "Oh, stop!" The line went dead. Silence. His father panicked, called back immediately. No answer. He and Annette kept calling again and again. No reply, no voicemail, just ringing, and then silence. The fear started to creep in. Something had gone horribly wrong, but no one knew what. No crash, no sounds, just gone. The search begins. At 6:30 a.m., the Swansons called the police, but they were told something that chilled them even more. He has a right to be missing. Brandon was 19, legally an adult. He hadn't done anything illegal, hadn't shown signs of distress, and hadn't been missing for long. Police were hesitant to treat this as an emergency, but his parents knew something wasn't right. He wouldn't just vanish. He wasn't that kind of kid. Eventually, after hours of pleading, the police began a search. The car is found, but not where expected. When cell phone pings were analyzed, a shocking truth emerged. Brandon hadn't been near Lind at all. His car was discovered 20 miles away, near the town of Taunton, stuck on the side of a remote gravel road, nowhere close to where he thought he was. That meant every direction he gave, every step he took, was based on a completely wrong sense of location. He had been lost, truly, terrifyingly lost. The trail ends at the river. Search dogs picked up Brandon's scent from the abandoned car. The trail led through fields along gravel roads, and finally to the banks of the Yellow Medicine River. The scent continued across the river. The dogs followed the path on the opposite side for a while. And then, it stopped. No more trail, no more Brandon. Did he fall? One theory is that Brandon slipped and fell into the river after uttering his last words. Maybe the "oh-sh-t" was him losing his footing on the steep riverbank. But dive teams searched the river multiple times in multiple seasons. They never found a body, never found clothing, never found the phone. If he had drowned, something, anything should have turned up. But there was nothing. Other theories. Could Brandon have died from exposure? Temperatures that night dipped into the low 30s. Wet clothes, no light, disorientation. Hypothermia could have taken him in just a few hours. Could he have fallen into a well, an old culvert, been injured and unable to move? Or could someone have been out there? Someone watching? Someone who took advantage of a lone walker in the middle of the night? Foul play has never been ruled out, but no signs of a struggle were ever found. The phone that kept ringing. For 2 days after the call ended, Brandon's phone kept ringing. It didn't go to voicemail immediately. This gave hope to his parents that maybe he was alive, just lost. But the ring stopped after 48 hours. The battery had likely died. Still, if the phone had been submerged, the ringing would have stopped immediately. So where was it? What was it near? And why has it never been recovered? A porch light that never turns off. Brandon's parents made a promise the night he vanished. They would leave the porch light on until he came home. And it's been on ever since. Every night, every year, for more than a decade. To them, it's more than just hope. It's a symbol of a voice that was heard and then lost, of a son who vanished while still speaking. Brandon's Law. In 2009, thanks to relentless campaigning by the Swansons, Minnesota passed Brandon's Law. It requires law enforcement to immediately investigate the disappearance of anyone who is reported missing under suspicious circumstances, even adults. It was too late for Brandon, but not for others. 16 years later, to this day, no trace of Brandon has ever been found. No bones, no clothing, no phone. Search teams have covered over 100 square miles with drones, helicopters, dogs, divers, and volunteers. The river, the fields, the forests. Still nothing. It's like he vanished into thin air. A voice still echoing. The most haunting part of this story is that we were with him. We heard the final words. We were on the line. It happened in real time. Unlike many missing person cases, this one didn't fade into the night. It happened while someone listened. His father still remembers that moment. The shift in tone, the sudden fear, the words he'll never forget. Oh, shit. Then, nothing. Where is Brandon Swanson? Brandon's case remains one of the most chilling disappearances in America, because it isn't just about someone going missing. It's about someone vanishing while you were listening. A conversation, a connection, a cry for help, and then a void. If you know something, say something. Brandon Swanson was last heard from at 1:54 a.m. on May 14, 2008, near Taunton, Minnesota. He was 19 years old. Final voiceover. Sometimes the scariest disappearances aren't the ones we never hear. They're the ones we heard in real time and still couldn't stop. Where did Brandon Swanson go? Share your theories in the comments and let's keep his story alive. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned as we continue uncovering the world's most chilling unsolved mysteries. Because sometimes the scariest part is not what we hear, but what comes after the silence.